It's about I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Being able to run as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Here we go. Goff from the gun to the
This is BS Sports.
And welcome in on another Tuesday evening. This is BS Sports. I'm Mike, and I have recovered from my insane, my breakdown, my emotional breakdown there on Sunday. The NBA draft lottery has a lot of people talking. And by a lot of people, I mean at least like 3 or 4, because I think basically nobody even knew that the NBA draft lottery was happening on Sunday up until I should say the Hawks jumped the Hawks jumped 9 spots, which unfathomable. The fact that a play-in team, a team that in theory could have won the NBA final, right? Like they were in contention to win the NBA final. They win the lottery. You don't see that in any other league. I'll just say that. But we got a great show. Obviously, no Seth this week, unfortunately. But we got a great show. We got to talk the NBA playoffs. Jared Goff gets extended. I got a topic here that Detroit sports fans need to hear. I got something. It's going to be probably a little brief, but we'll see. I'm not sure how much I can ramble on about it. But it's something I want to talk about because I think it's indicative of something very important in this city and among sports fans in general. We got some Tiger talk as well. Obviously, Tigers win in dramatic fashion last night, but things are not going great for your Motor City Kitties. But obviously, the talk of the night, the talk of the town, the talk of everybody is the NBA draft lottery. So the question of the show is this NBA draft lottery just broken? Just like straight up, like it does not work, right? So here's the thing, right? The in theory, okay, this is what the purpose of the lottery is. The purpose of the lottery, in theory, is to prevent taking, right? Apparently, and I can't verify this, I wasn't alive. Apparently it was a large issue. Teams just straight up not trying to get number one picks, trying to get top prospects. And it seems to me that the lottery has not changed that. For one, I don't care what anybody says, what the Spurs were doing last year was tanking, right? Like when you're a bottom feeder team, I get that now they're trying to do the play-in to sort of incentivize teams to compete because, hey, you get the play-in, you can still make the playoffs these last couple of sets of games. But the other thing about it is when it comes to that, like, you know that your odds of winning a championship as a play-in team are pretty darn low. I mean, like, the Heat managed to make it to the championship game last year, and they won one game, right? Like, that was probably the best case scenario for any play-in team. Like, we likely aren't going to see that kind of thing very often. And now we see that even if you're a play-in team, if you're the Atlanta Hawks, hey, it might actually even be better to still just lose because, you got a chance to get the number one pick, right? Like, in what world, to me, does it make any sense that in theory, the Golden State Warriors could have ended up with the number one overall? In what world does that make any sense? I'm not even saying, and this is not my opinion necessarily, but I'm willing to grant, I'm not even saying we got to get rid of the draft lottery entirely. But the fact that, for one, my Detroit Pistons jump 4 spots despite having their worst record in franchise history, and the Hawks, who, again, I cannot stress this enough, in theory, could have won the NBA championship this year. In theory, right? Like they were in the plan, right? They get the pick, and the Pistons end up, falling in the lottery more than any other team. Like, does that not seem like a system that is not operating in the way that it should? Right? Like, the Pistons, I mean, if it is going to operate in the way that it should, I'm not even saying the Pistons should get number 1, but they probably shouldn't get number 5, right? Like, and if they're going to get number 5, the teams picking ahead of them, none of them should be playoff teams or play-in teams. They should all be teams that are at least comparable to the Pistons. I credit to the Hawks, I guess, because they're gonna get the number 1 pick in what I would consider a bad draft, and what everyone seems to consider a bad draft. But the other thing to consider here, specifically about the Pistons, and I'm famous, I suppose, maybe not to some people, but I'm famous for saying that the NBA lottery, or I'm not the first one to say this, of course, saying that the NBA draft lottery is rigged. And I stand by that. I still think that it is rigged. And this somewhat further solidifies it in a way. My reasoning here is, for one, the Pistons are a complete laughing stock. Right? Like, the Pistons are like the black sheep of the NBA. Nobody cares about them except maybe me and a few other people around Detroit and Michigan generally. Not even Joe Dumars likes the Pistons anymore, for good reason, actually, because we ran him out of town. But we needed to run him out. Neither here nor there. The Pistons are run by a horrible owner. Their GM is a moron. So, the NBA is like, well, you're not a well-run organization. We have greater trust in Houston or San Antonio. We even have greater trust in Atlanta. They made the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years. Lest we not forget. Not that they're in a good spot right now, but neither here nor there. So they're like, well, sucks, Detroit, but you're just not worth, giving the number 1 overall pick and potentially, obviously, like I said, this draft class, according to everybody who's following it, says this is a weak draft class. You know, why take that risk that those people are all wrong? And I don't know, maybe Alexander Sarr is the next who's like an average center. Bam Adebayo. I guess he's not average, but you get what maybe the next Bam Adebayo is going to be in this draft. Wow, just really got me on the edge of my seat. The next think of some other average. I was gonna say Trey Young, but that's kind of mean. I like Trey Young. The next, I'm like just going through the list here. The next, D'Angelo Russell. It's like, okay, not like the worst. Like maybe Lakers fans might feel differently. The next, Mason Plumlee. The next Kentavious Caldwell. That's a good one. The next Kentavious Caldwell Pope is in this draft, basically. And again, not to get too far away from it, but I think basically this tells me short of the Pistons losing every single game, short of the Pistons actually going 0-82. And even then, could you imagine if a team, obviously it's technically possible, but it's practically impossible. If a team goes 0-82, I don't care that that team has to get the first round. They have to, right? They have tanked their franchise value. There is no way in no world can you say, well, just because that's just because we're trying to prevent tank. It's that's not tank. That's are you even in the NBA? You're fielding a G League team at that point. Which in a lot of ways the Pistons were, but that's neither here nor there. I suppose I could take a look at the mock draft. We did it briefly, but I gotta be honest with everybody. Okay, I don't know who half of these people are. Not that I really knew who a lot of the people were last year's draft. This is kind of a problem with the NBA draft in general at this point, is that it's kind of becoming a little bit of the MLB or the NHL draft, where it's a lot of guys you never heard of out of, G League or foreign or whatever. Has anybody actually ever watched Zakari Rissaker play? Don't lie. Okay? Don't give me I watched some highlights on no. I mean you watched what does he play? The JL Borg. You watched them play basketball for 60 minutes. Don't tell me that. Nobody is. I refuse. If you watch those games, you need to get a hobby. You need to get outside. You need to get a job. I don't know. You need something. Go talk to a woman. I don't know. Do something other than watch foreign basketball. Do anything else. Read a book. Read Dante's Inferno. I don't know. I don't care. Anything. Anyhow, outside of the number one prospect being this Zakari Rissaker guy, you got Donovan Clingan. I watched him in the national championship and a couple of games on UConn. Yeah, I mean he's a 7'2", 265, 20-year-old. I think he could be really good. 7'2", 265, and going on 21 years old, averaged a double-double this past year with UConn, 20 points, 11 boards. Yeah, I mean I think he could be a good play. The thing is there's not the one play last year where you had Victor, who just far and away the best player in the draft, right? With this, I could see a lot of these guys being decent guys. Maybe you see a guy come out of nowhere and be a superstar, but it's really hard to predict in general. I mean, when we're dealing with guys that are 18, look at 19, 20, 18, 19, 18, 19. We're dealing with guys who can't buy a beer, okay? It's so hard to predict at this point, and it's sort of a problem with the league in general that I have, which is that, guys are coming into the league, and it's a men's game, and we're just sort of expecting them to take over, and for a lot of these, poverty teams, Pistons included, short of you landing that Victor Wembanyama or that Anthony Edwards or Anthony Davis or any of these other guys that every 3-4 years you get that kind of, no miss prospect, short of those guys making those guys made immediate impact. right? But I don't know that Matas Buzelis out of the G League. I don't know that he's going to make much of an impact in general, let alone immediately on the team. But either way, regardless of whether or not any of these players are any good, I'm sure some of them are going to be good. That it's basically impossible to have a draft with no good players. The point is, this NBA draft lottery. I mean, it's if if this is not a sign to the NBA or to fans that this system is just kind of ridiculous. Like I just, it seems to me that we're just overcomplicating things. It's like just do it like the NFL. Just I if a team wants to tank, whatever. That's on them, right? Like if they tank and it doesn't matter, they lose anyway. Well, whatever. It's like it sucks. Like pick better players. It's like I don't understand and the reason they're never going to change it ultimately is because it's a TV show. You know, like they could just do the lottery, off the air. They could just randomly say, "This is it. We've released the lottery. Here you go." And I mean, you want to talk about rigged? Like at that point, I don't know how people are gonna be able to take that seriously. But either way, they could, but they're not gonna because it's the drama of the lottery. It's free viewership for all the teams that didn't make the playoffs, right? Like if you're a Grizzlies fan or a Spurs fan, maybe you're not paying that much attention to the playoffs, but you're probably, I mean, if you're like me, I'm a Pistons fan. I definitely paid attention to the lottery, even though this class is not supposed to be that good. I just wanted to see where we picked, and I went a little insane. Go watch the clip. Doing very well. So, yeah. But with that, I'm just sort of talking in circles here. Lottery is just silly. Like, just get rid of it. It doesn't do the thing that it's supposed to do, which is stop tanking. It just doesn't. Clearly. So, moving along, then I guess we'll continue on the NBA stuff. Let's just talk about the playoffs here. So we got three, or I got 4 points actually I want to make here. So first things first, talk about the Pacers Knicks, all tied up. Pacers back-to-back wins at home, in brutal fashion in that second game that they played at home. I like turned the game on. I think I like went. I don't know. I was walking around. Looking for something else. It must have been on a commercial. And I look and it's like 80 to 10. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. And I think a little bit of it at this point for the Pacers, or for the Knicks, I should say. Those injuries, man. I mean, Jalen Brunson. He's like the R. Kelly interview on, I think it was CBS, where I'm fighting for my life. Like that's basically Jalen Brunson. He's fighting for his life. And all the injuries are I mean, when you have to give meaningful minutes in the playoffs to Alec Burks, it's not good. It's not good. Not You don't want to do that. It's not great. But I do like this Pacers team. Like they just have something about them, and I think it's probably just because they're a little bit of an underdog team and they're well built. It's funny. Like I think I've become attached to the teams that successfully rebuilded. Right, like as a Pistons fan, like the Pacers were in the lottery like last year, I think, and now they're taking it to one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference in the Knicks, and they got a chance here and a couple of wins away from a conference championship. In I don't know exactly when they started their rebuild, but certainly if they started it at least around the time as the Pistons, 4 years roughly. Um, and it just doesn't look good for the Knicks. I'm sorry. I love Jalen Brunson. I love watching him play. I like watching the Knicks play. DiVincenzo, I love it. Like they're a really fun team, and I don't usually say that about a lot of New York teams because I tend to not like New York sports fans, but I can't help it. I like the Knicks, although in a way, like it's kind of like I'm thinking of a trade off here because like if the Knicks end up winning it all, right? Like New York's just done. Like New York as a city is gonna be like it's gonna look like Mad Max, right? So like, well, maybe you do it because it's like those fans are absolutely insane. We need to like get them in a lab and lock them away, throw away the key. Like I'm talking like Batman Arkham Knight. If you guys have ever played that game, we need to get them all in little separate cells, and they'll all turn into the Joker, basically. Spoiler. Game's like 10 years old. It's a great game, by the way. Still would recommend it. Anyway, uh, Well, how about that Nuggets Wolves series? So like this time again this time last week, we were thinking, geez, man, the Wolves are just, they're killing them. I mean, it's like the Wolves are they the next? Are they the guys to beat? Are they the new powers in the West? And then the Nuggets are like, hold my beer, and then they decide they're gonna just destroy the Wolves on the road. Like maybe it's just road warrior syndrome. Like teams play terrible at home, or it might have been a little bit of inexperience potentially for the Timberwolves. Obviously, this is their first real playoff run. I know they made the playoffs last year, but I want to say Carl Anthony Towns was hurt during that run, and it was the Anthony Edwards show, and the Nuggets did what they did. I believe they played. But this is one of those series, man. That like I mean, they have a game tonight, 10:30, which why do they do that? I know that it's a West. I know Denver's Mountain Time, Minnesota is Central Time, but come on, man, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like the thing is, like I don't really care that much about the Boston Cavs series, and we'll get into that in just a second here. But like that's the game that's on, right? Like that's the game that I'll be able to really put on and watch. Meanwhile, Timberwolves Nuggets, like I'll watch maybe the first quarter, if that. But I don't know. I mean, like at this point, obviously it's anybody's series. I mean, you're right back at it. I can't say anything definitive because like as much as I want to say, well, the Wolves destroyed the Nuggets on the road in those first two games, maybe a little bit of like they just weren't ready for them at home. Like the Nuggets just went all out. They went like, train in the mountains mode and they just decided it's time to actually try. I don't know. It might be an experience thing. This might be sort of the hump for the Wolves to get over if they want to get that title in the Western Conference. So in my view, I usually lean with the team that has more experience when it comes to a close series like this, because we know the Nuggets have been in these spots before. But I do really want the Wolves to win. I'm not gonna let my desire for the Wolves to win overweigh my reason, but it is definitely anybody's here. I'll leave it at that. Moving along though, as I alluded to, the Celtics. I mean, like, why are they even playing a series? I mean, like, just put the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals and whatever. Like, they'll either play the Knicks or they'll play the Pacers. It's fine, and it's fine. So, Udonis Haslam, I saw a clip of him on. I want to say I'm pretty sure it was ESPN, wherever Udonis Haslam worked. I didn't even know he worked on television, but I guess he does. He made a point, which I don't think is true in aggregate, but is true maybe like right now. In that the basically he was saying the Celtics really haven't been, tested. And I'm going to be as charitable as possible with his evaluation there and say he's referring specifically to these playoffs. Now, while it's basically the same team that made the championship just a couple of years ago, plus or minus a few players here and there, Kristaps Porzingis, namely. But I don't disagree if that's what he meant. Like the Heat, no Jimmy Butler. They were an 8 seed anyway. It was a long shot. The Celtics were gonna win that series. The Cavs, similar kind of story. They're a decent team, but they're not at that level. They're just not. Donovan Mitchell is a really good player. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, he's good. Darius Garland, also pretty good. But I mean, the Celtics are just they're. This is where experience does pay off. I mean, they've done this before. They're a team on a mission, and I've used that analogy before when it comes to playoffs or just sports in general. When you're a team on a mission, it's like you're just sort of a freight train, and short of the opposition being a wrench in the gears, they're not stopping, right? Like you might, I mean, they pulled off a win, so they out of nowhere randomly got a win, but I don't think that sort of thing is sustainable. At least for the Cavs, I, I think they probably end it tonight or not tonight, tomorrow. They play tomorrow at 7 on TNT True TV. So Yeah, not looking great for the Cavs, which sucks because they're another team that's kind of fun to watch. I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Garland. I like Mobley. Again, I guess it's like maybe I just like watching basketball. I like a lot of these teams. I like a lot of these players, but fortunately, uh, only one team can win. And speaking of only one team being able to win, got to talk about the final series here. Got to talk about the Mavs and Thunder. So the Thunder, I had the game on last night, and I saw the Thunder were kind of down. I think they were down like 8 or 9 going into the fourth or around the fourth quarter, and I was like, oh well, okay, Mavs will go up 3-1. It looks like maybe Luca and the boys they're gonna be able to just overcome the Thunder. Obviously, widely underexperienced team, the Thunder, incredibly young team, really fun team to watch. And then I wake up this morning and I see Thunder win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 35 plus points or what. I was like, oh, cool. I'm happy for the Thunder. That's another team. I mean, technically they've never won as the Thunder. They have won a championship as the Seattle Supersonics back in the like 70s. But this is another series like where you got two teams where and I've said this basically every time, every game, every series. I like both these teams, but we might have something might be going here in the Western Conference specifically where you got both series tied up 2-2. I mean, Shy is a dog, Chet's a dog. You got Josh Giddey as well. With the Mavs, I mean, obviously Luca and Kyrie, but PJ Washington, man, it seems like every time I watch PJ Washington is just murdering the basket. And by murdering the basket, I mean hitting threes, driving. Like, hey, it's fun basketball. As far as this game, that's another game that's tomorrow night. It looks like tonight there aren't any series that are able to be decided. We could have a decision in the Celtics Cavs tomorrow, and that would be also the only one. But I gotta say, these playoffs definitely they at least feel better than they were last year. And maybe it's just because there's a lot more parity. The Lakers were gone, and thank goodness for them just being out of the picture. Hopefully, it just felt like a lot of series just weren't all that close. You had the Heat just embarrass the Bucks. That was exciting last year. Not for Seth, but it was exciting for me. Uh, you had the Sixers collapse against the Celtics last year. Like it just felt like there was more to it. Or it felt like there's been more to it this year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just recently biased. It's something that water is very room temperature. Uh, See, this thing is supposed to, in theory, I think it's supposed to keep the temperature of the water, but I don't really know how the science works on that because it doesn't really do it that often. Maybe it's like it only does that for like the first month that you use it, and it's just like I no longer operate in the function that you want me to. Anyhow, you know what? Before we get into some of the specific topics, we'll just talk about the playoffs here, and then we'll get into some of the more specific topics. So coming to the NHL playoffs, I got three things here I want to talk about specifically. So first things first, Florida going up 3-1, comeback win in Game 4. It was crazy. They were down in the third period. I believe they were down 2-0, something like that, and they come in and finish the job, right? Like it is one of those. It's one of those things where tonight they got the chance to win it. They got the chance to close it out. I can actually take a look here and see what the score is so far. Though Boston up 1-0. Still early though. I think doesn't actually say what. That's not helpful at all. Like doesn't say what period it is. It just says that it's 1-0. This is like actually useful. Okay, it's 1-0. Probably in the first period. I don't. It could be the second period. No, this has been 32 minutes. So it's the first. Regardless, Panthers they got a chance to ice this series here. No pun intended. Look again, like the Celtics. Panthers team just seems like a team on a mission. Like they seem like determined to go out and go on another cup run. Like just to get back there and let the cards fall where they may. Obviously, they're not going to meet Vegas this time, who may have been their kryptonite potentially, but it's good. It was a good win for them in Game 4. You imagine they want to finish this out in 5, get themselves into the conference finals. And speaking of the Eastern Conference, how about those Carolina Hurricanes? Like, I'd have them dead to rights. Like, I think they were down. They were certainly down 3-1, and then I want to say last night or maybe Sunday, they go in and they just pull out a win. Like, that's the thing about these NHL playoffs. Let me tell you, like, it is not it's not easy, right? Like, it is not. It's not like oh, you're down 3-1, series is over. No, 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 no. I've seen it happen too often where teams are up 3-1 and then blow it. It's not like the NBA. It's not like, any of these other leagues where, you have such a high lead and you can just take over at that point. No, doesn't happen that way. Uh, and speaking of big leads, I gotta say, I was not expecting the Dallas Stars to be this high up over the Colorado Avalanche. Uh, I would say that I'm like highly like disappointed in the Avs. I don't know. I think there's something to, and it's not foolproof, obviously. But I think there's something to if you have like a really quick series as opposed to one where you're fighting like in the case of Dallas game 7 win, like I think there's something to it. Obviously Boston, that they might be trying to test that theory up 1-0 here. Uh but Avs, gentlemen's sweep, they win it in 5. They win the first round against Winnipeg in 5, and Dallas, they got a chance, I believe tomorrow, to just shut it down, right? To lock and load and close that one out. And heads to the conference finals. Colorado's one of those teams, man, where like last year they were kind of disappointing. Obviously, they had some injuries. This year, I mean, assuming they don't win this series, assuming they don't go to the conference finals, it's like that title run a couple of years ago. I mean, was it indicative of what they are supposed to be, or is this more indicative of what they are? I don't know. I don't know. And I didn't have a point on this, but Vancouver and Edmonton are playing tonight. Vancouver's up 2-1 over Edmonton. This is another one of those series. Again, it's like it's on too late. I can't watch these games when they start at 9:30 and they end at 12:30, and I gotta go to work at 9. Like I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't have that much to say about it. I'm rooting for Vancouver, I guess. like eh, Edmonton scores a lot of goals, but to me, it just seems like it's the same story every year with the Oilers, where highly talented and come to the playoffs and nothing happens. So, eh, eh, I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I'm sorry if I'm a little distracted here. I'm watching the Tigers, currently in a 0-0 game in the bottom of the 5th with the Marlins. This seems very typical, and you know what? Maybe we'll just jump right into the Tigers here. But like they'll have a game where like offensively they look pretty good, score a lot of runs, and then the next day they'll just be dead. It's like they just use up all their gas. And you know what? Let's do it. Let's jump into the Tigers here. So Tigers, barring potentially tonight's result, have yet to win a series in the month of May. No, I'm not making that up. They have not won a series in the month of May. They lost in a sweep to the Yankees. They lost 2-3 or 2-1 against the Guardians, and then they lost 2-1 against the Astros. And in many of these cases, they have lost in heartbreaking ways. Frankly, they very much could have or should have swept the Guardians. They definitely could have won that series. Similar story with the Yankees, where they could have come away with at least 1 or maybe 2 wins there. And right now, their offense is looking terrible as per usual. But question I have is there a road for recovery? And luckily, being the positive guy I am, as everybody knows, there is a road to recovery. For one, they do have this series with the Marlins. Right now it's 0-0, so it's anybody's ball game coming into the final third, or final two thirds, I should say, of the game, entering the sixth as of right now. Um, Marlins team is not very good. You're gonna have the day off on Thursday as you travel to Arizona. Uh, that game, I mean that series. Let me take a look at the standings here. I just want to see where Arizona is right now. Uh, they're kind of a middle of the pack team, below 500. Maybe you could take advantage of them. Obviously, having a bit of a slump since their World Series run last year. Really a disappointing start for Arizona. I want to say Corbin Carroll is massively struggling, like embarrassingly struggling. And I hope he continues at least up until the end of the weekend. Uh, but that could be a lot of fun. I mean, like in that is a winnable series, right? Like right now they're playing a winnable series. Like I would ideally like them to get a sweep. I think they've gotten just one sweep on the season. I would like them to get a sweep against the Marlins. I like them to get a sweep against the D-backs, although that might be a little tougher on the road. D-backs are a better team than the Marlins. Then you got a real test. You got the Royals on the road, a team you beat at home earlier in the year, but the Royals, they're having a good year. I'm not totally convinced that they are actually good. But hey, they're playing hot right now. So even if maybe they're not, maybe if they're playing above the mean of what they actually are, sucks. That's what they are. That's how they're playing. You're gonna have to deal with it. And then you got the Blue Jays, another team that's not doing too hot. I believe they are, yeah, they're in last place in their division. That's a team you should be able to take control of. That's a 4-game set at home. Then you got a couple of games against the Pirates, and that's a team that is certainly, struggling again as they do. Below 500 team that you split with on the road. So it's not like, that's a series. That's a 2-game set that they'll have against Pittsburgh. I don't know why it's always Pittsburgh that we have these 2-game sets. I don't know. Maybe we have some agreement, or Pittsburgh just does things differently. Like, I don't understand it. I don't know why we always seem to play the Pirates in a 2-game set. I don't understand, but it is what it is. And then final series of the month, you got the Red Sox on the road, and that goes into the month of June. And the Red Sox, that's another team that's kind of mid, a little above 500 as of right now, but overall, not a particularly great team. All this is to say, there is a path for the Tigers to get themselves to, let's just say 5 or 6 games above 5 at the minimum, right? Like, I would ideally love for them to get to like 10 games. I'd ideally love them to like go on a win streak of like 4 or 5 games. Like if they sweep the Marlins and they win the 2 games, or they win the 3-game set with the D-backs in the opening 2 games, that's a 5-game win streak. I can live with that. Like I wouldn't want them to lose on Sunday, but if they did lose on Sunday, I'd be like, all right, they still won the 3-game set. Don't like the feeling of going into another road game set losing, but it is what it is. So there is an avenue. Like when your hardest series of the month is a division series against the Royals, a team that you already did beat at home, that's a good feeling for the most part. That's a good feeling. And speaking of good feelings around this team, I gotta talk about Jared Goff. I mean, look, I usually wait a little bit when it comes to evaluating and going hard on pitchers, or going hard on any particular player, especially in baseball. Jared Goff is legit a superstar in this league. I mean, like, he is one of the top pitchers in general. So let me just run down some stats here on ESPN. So for one, in the American League, Jared Goff is second in wins. He's undefeated, 5-0. If you even care about wins, I don't think they're a really important stat, but there it is. In ERA, he is second. He's got a 2.02 ERA. In strikeouts, in totality, he is fourth. Funny enough, Jack Flaherty is actually ahead of him. He's got 60 strikeouts. In Ks per 9, so strikeouts per 9 innings, he's fourth. He's got 11 strikeouts per 9. in whip, he is. Oh, always the word. He is number one. He has the lowest whip in the American League, and in WAR, he is the fifth highest pitcher, I should say, in the American League with a 1.8 WAR. Although he's also tied with Tyler Anderson. Of all of this is to say, Skubal is far and away one of the best pitchers certainly one of the best starting pitchers, if not one of the best pitchers in general in the American League. And I didn't look at where he stands in the entire major leagues. It's probably in the same sort of range. Like, I saw something today that he got the most first place votes for American League Cy Young. And as of right now, like if the season ended today, he's definitely the Cy Young for the American League. Obviously, long season to go. Want him to stay healthy because he struggled to do that for his career. But when he's on the field, when he's playing, he's borderline unhittable. And you'll love to see it for him. The pitching staff, the pitching development of the Tigers has always been good. And yeah, that's great. Now, with all that being said, I do have a question. And I don't really have an answer exactly. But let's assume this offense just continues to suck. Right? Let's assume the Tigers' offense is what it is, bottom third, not good, everything is bad. A little game of would you rather. Would you rather Tigers just sign him, max deal, extend him, I don't know, however long that deal is. And whatever deal you feel comfortable with, they sign him to that extent. Or they trade Skubal at the deadline and pick up some hitting assets to potentially help the offense, some years down the line. Now, my inclination is to say just sign him because when you have a good player, I like to collect good players. I don't like to trade away good players. At the same time, this offense is just so bad that, like, how long is it going to take for it to get better, right? Like, how long are we going to have to deal with the, Jake Rogers, the Carson Kellys, the Javi Baez's of the league? Like, it's going to take a few draft cycles for us to really pick those guys to come in and take up the lineup. Because you got decent players in some way. You got Riley Green. You got Kerry Carpenter. Spencer Torkelson might be turning it on. That's the question here. But overall, you don't have a lot of guys that you think 3-4 years down the line are cornerstone guys in your lineup. You might have something in the pitching, and that's my inclination as to why I would avoid switching it up and trading Skubal for any prospects. But speaking of prospects and things potentially turning on here, I want to just talk about Spencer Torkelson a little bit. Last night, he hit his second home run of the season. I remember this time last week, he hadn't hit a home run. And now today, he's hit 2 in as many games. So I decided to take a look at some of his recent stats. So at least as of yesterday, going into today, I should say, he had an above 900 OPS in his last 7. He is on an 8-game hitting streak, which may end today. And he's got an 800 OPS in the month. Look, eyes can lie. Ears, people can lie. Numbers don't lie. He's been pretty good in the month of May. Now, to be fair, it's possible that some of these numbers have been inflated over the last few weeks or over the last few games. Obviously, when you have back-to-back games where you hit a home run, your slugging percentage is going to jump, right? Like, that's just going to happen. But, I mean, again, like, having an 800 OPS across a month, I don't care. It's positive things. Like, comparatively, where we were. Meanwhile, Wenceel Perez, I believe, just got the first hit of the day for the Tigers, which is good to see. Like, if it's you getting a bunch of, if you get struck out, and then you hit a home run in the 8th, I wash my hands of it, right? Like I have to sort of take it by its, what's the word? Like, I have to take it by its own context, right? Like, if you're getting some clutch hits or if you're getting hits of high value, right? Like, I'd rather you get less hits if those hits are in valuable moments than if you just get a bunch of hits that don't mean it, right? If you just hit a bunch of singles, never drive in any runs, and never do anything meaningful in a game, what difference does it make if you're getting the hit? What difference does it make, right? Like, get the hit either way. I'm not going to be mad about it, but ideally, you want to get the hit in a clutch situation. You want to get the hit in a spot where it's going to really do some damage. Speaking of hitting, Javi Baez is probably going to get a double play. But my whole point in bringing all this together here, talking about the Tigers, is they're in a bit of a limbo state, which makes sense given the fact that they are a 500 team, and I literally predicted Javi Baez hitting into a double play, and he just did. They're in a bit of a limbo state, right? Like, they are a slightly above 500 team, 21-20 on the year, a +4 run differential. They're exactly where they're apparently supposed to be according to MLB and their expected wins and losses, based on whatever math and metrics they're doing. So we're basically exactly where we are supposed to be, which, if you expected more of this team, that's rather disappointing. As I didn't really expect much, but I guess I didn't expect much, but I did kind of hope and expect for surprises. I guess you can really hope for that, I suppose. But I mean, they're only 3 games out of the wild card, so there's that. And you got to think maybe a team like the Royals, maybe a team like the Twins, maybe they come back to reality. Maybe those teams are just good. I don't know. But moving on. So I got a couple of things. First, let's talk about this Jared Goff extension. So, Lions signed Jared Goff to a $212 million extension, 4 years. So divide that by 212 by 4. That's how much he's getting a year. 170 of that is guaranteed. It makes him the highest paid player in Lions history. Now, there's a lot of very, very, I don't know how else to put it, while still being charitable. Very foolish, okay? We're going to use some softer language. This is character development, okay? Very foolish people who are saying this is too much, that we overpaid, Goff isn't that good, we're never going to win with him, and he doesn't deserve it. Let me just paint you a picture. Past couple seasons, the Lions have had a top offense in the league. Not just in rushing, in passing as well. Jared Goff has also had plenty of clutch late game heroics. I mean, we saw it this past year against the Bears. We saw it really against the in the playoffs against the Rams, where he had that final drive where all he needed was a first down, and he got it. He iced the game there. And then after that, obviously the back and forth of the Bucs game, and if Josh Reynolds catches a couple of footballs, we could be talking about the Lions playing or winning the Super Bowl last year. Like, I think the problem is, and Jared Goff is sort of, I think, short of him winning a Super Bowl with the Lions, I think he's always going to be seen as this bust, right? Like, as this, this guy who was rejected by the Rams, brought him to the Super Bowl, had an awful game against the Patriots where he couldn't score. He couldn't score at all. And then obviously he kind of regresses. He doesn't ever get them back. They trade him away for Stafford. And what do you know? The Rams go and they win the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, the Lions have a terrible year with Goff under the helm. And you just think, okay, it's over. But then last year, the year before that, I should say, he leads the Lions to a winning record. First winning record since 2017. Top of the line offense with this new guy named Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator. And then last year, best season ever as for the Detroit Lions, taking them to the NFC Championship game, 2 playoff wins in a single season, most in franchise history, which is actually terrifying to say. And again, Pro Bowl numbers. He wasn't a Pro Bowler this year, even though I think he absolutely should have been. He was a Pro Bowler last year for the Lions. I want to say no, he wasn't a substitute. Maybe he was a substitute Pro Bowler this year. But either way, I mean, like even if you don't want to, like Pro Bowl is basically a popularity contest. You know, he has been the leader of one of the best offenses in football. Full stop. Full stop. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No. Is he Joe Burrow? No. Is he Josh Allen? No. No, he's not. But what is he? He's consistent. He'll give you he will give you above average quarterback play. You know, great to good to great, and then your occasional, bad game. Which I think the thing is, when Jared Goff has a bad game, it's as if this is indicative of who he is. The Lions haven't lost back-to-back games in 2 years. Like, like, if we were talking about Dak Prescott, if we were talking about even Kirk Cousins doing something like that, which I actually don't know. I'm almost certain they have not. But if they did, obviously people will be talking about, oh, I love this guy, top 10, easily. Like, Jared Goff is better than both those guys. Like, in any statistical measurement, if you look, he's consistently higher than both of those guys. And don't tell me that you wouldn't want Jared Goff as your quarterback over Dak Prescott. I'm sorry. Playoff choker. Can't do it. Can't do it. He would he can run around. Don't care. Jared Goff is the better quarterback. Don't cry, Cowboys fans. You know that it's true. We all know that it's true. I mean, he was just a couple of stats here on this ESPN article. He was second in passing yards over the past 2 seasons. He was third for passing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons. He was second in touchdown to interception ratio. He was fourth in touchdown percentage. Pay him. Like, that's what happens. And to the Lions fans saying it's too much, look, it's the cost of doing business. You don't have if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you can't win. Full stop. End of story. Amen. Period. That's it. You can't win. And you have your guy. He wants to be here. He's got his number 1 target in Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got his number 2 target in Sam Laporta. He's probably going to have his deep ball threat / his, speedster threat in JMO next year once he's going to be ready to go. I really think that he could have a breakout season. He's got his elite run game in Gibbs and Montgomery. He's got his elite O-line. His defense, the secondary had a massive improvement. And the defense itself had a massive improvement overall. Like, this very well could be the Super Bowl that Jared Goff has been dying to get to. Like, I do think that this is a team that could go to the Super Bowl. And frankly, might be the favorites. But to a lot of people, they still think of Jared Goff as the guy who, I don't know, like, who didn't look like he was even playing in the Super Bowl back on the Rams. So, some people are never going to get over it. I think we signed a guy entering his prime, entering into his 30s. These are some of the best years you're going to get for your quarterback. And yeah, I think it's great. Like, I'm sorry I don't have that much more to add, but it's just a great deal. You've signed the core of your offense: Sewell, Goff, and St. Brown. Everybody else, like, I might like a lot of these guys. They might not necessarily be long-term signing. Probably Laporta, and then barring how good JMO is, maybe. The point is, obviously, you're not going to be able to pay everything. But you had to pay Goff. You had to. You don't want to be the Atlanta Falcons where you don't know who your quarterback is, and you're paying Kirk Cousins, and you're just drafting Michael Penix, and you're sitting around, not knowing what to do. Or you don't want to be the Broncos, who didn't have a quarterback and may not still have a quarterback, or the Steelers, or any of these teams. They're constantly getting new quarterbacks. The Saints. Oh, gosh, you don't want to be the Saints. In no way do you want to be the Saints. Short of short of Super Bowl titles, you don't want to be the Saints in basically anything in the NFL. Suppose you want to be the Saints in real life. That would probably what you should be aiming. But yeah, that's all I got to say out of that. I do have one final thing before we get going. Okay, so there was a graphic, a post on Reddit here. This was specifically on the r/hockey subreddit. I don't know why I said that with such a hockey, but basically, this was the Big Four sports teams equivalents based on the winning/point percentage, because hockey does point percentage, not winning percentage, over the last 10 years. So, graphic is very interesting, and it reveals something in Detroit sports that I need to. Okay, so where do you reckon the four Detroit in the past 10 years? Where do you reckon the Detroit sports? Obviously, they land in different places. They have different places, but I think they're middle pack. Do you think they're bottom? Do you think they're near the top? I don't know why you would think that, but no, they're all in the bottom 10. And yes, Red Wings fan club. Yes, the Tigers' offense is in fact broken. They had a good offensive day yesterday, so that's why they have to have a bad offensive day. Every single team, though, in the past 10 years in Detroit are in the bottom 10 in win percentage across the league. So the highest one is the Detroit Lions, which is probably mostly because of the last at least 1 year, maybe even the last 2 years. You increase your win percentage. And in general, it's easier to increase your win percentage in the NFL than any other league. They are in the Padres, Bulls, and Canucks tier. So over the past 10 years, the Lions are basically the equivalent of those teams in the past 10. So just think about that. Basically, the Lions are the Canucks of the NFL over the past 10 years, which is actually pretty good comparably, because the Canucks are, they're in a playoff run right now. They have a chance to potentially go on a cup run. So it actually kind of works. That's a very good NFL to NHL team comp. Now, the Tigers, you will be shocked to find out they're in 29th out of 30, which is not ideal, as you might expect. They are in the ranks close to the Orlando Magic, the Cleveland Browns, who, by the way, in the past decade had a season where they didn't win a single game, and the Ottawa Senators, who perennially are terrible. I don't think I've ever lived a life in which the Senators were good. I don't know why I said that way. I don't know. I've never been alive to witness the Senators do anything of any positive note. Like it's always just been like, oh yeah, there's the Senators. They got cool jerseys. That's all I'll say about that. But the Tigers, this is where you're at, basically. Hey, you haven't made the playoffs in a decade, so what do you expect? This is how people are viewing your team. Like, if you're just an outside observer and you started following sports in 2014, the Tigers are going to be looked at in the same way that the Senators are looked at, or that the Browns are looked at in the NFL. And the most damning one of all is, of course, the 30th spot, where it is occupied by not one, but two Detroit sports franchises, since you realized that I was missing a couple. You have your Detroit Pistons, who are obviously an absolute atrocity. And then you have your Red Wings. Now, this is interesting because both these teams in this span, over the past 10 years, have made the playoffs, at least multiple times. I know for sure the Red Wings, because their streak ended in 2016, and the Pistons, they made the playoffs twice in 2016 and 2018. Both these teams had multiple seasons in this 10-year span where, they were in the playoffs. They were, in theory, competing for championships. Now, in practice, obviously, they were not. But let this sink in for some Red Wings fans, because some Red Wings fans don't want to hear this. Basically, you are a slightly more appealing looking Pistons over the past 10 years. Like as far as comparability, you really aren't that different as a franchise, which is absolutely horrifying for anyone who's a Red Wings fan. But furthermore, the teams that you are in the same tier with, and this is another one that's fascinating, are the Marlins, a team that we're playing right now, coincidentally, and the Giants. Now, this is fascinating. The Giants, they were just off of winning a Super Bowl. The Giants won a Super Bowl in 2012. So you extend this just a couple of years, I imagine they jump up a lot higher. But either way, over the past 10 years, anybody can see the Giants have definitely fallen off since that last Super Bowl in 2012. The Pistons and the Red Wings are essentially the equivalent of the Miami Marlins of their respective. Now, I'm bringing all this up not just to bash on Detroit sports teams, because obviously I'm a fan of these. My point is, when Detroit sports fans and mostly fans and sometimes the media too, when they do this thing where they act as though, well, these are proud franchises, these are respectable organizations, we got to just trust the process, we got to just stop with all this nonsense. It's like, no. Like there's over the past decade, 3 of the 4 teams have given me no reason to trust any process they're doing, let alone, trust the particular things that they're doing. Like, just let that sink in, okay? So when I get mad at the Red Wings or when I get mad at the Pistons, which is often, or the Tigers, and people want to, get all upset and say, you're being too negative, you're being too mean. Past 10 years, 3 out of the 4 teams in this city, in Detroit, are in the bottom 2 in win percentage across all 4 sports leagues. And the only one that's not there in the Lions is still in the bottom 10 and probably jumped up like 5 spots this past year. So, save the, stop being a hater, stop being a negative fan and complaining routine, because it's just childish. That's all it is. It's just childish. But Penny Subic says NBA should go back to a coin flip. You can't rig a coin flip. That's true. But that would also be kind of stupid. Like, it might be kind of fun for like a year, especially if my team's not involved. But I also heard other options for changing the lottery here as we're kind of wrapping up the show and just talking whatever. Why not just have the bottom 3 teams be in a lottery? Let me pull it up real quick. Why not just have, the Pistons, the Wizards, and the Hornets? Put them in a lottery, put three bingo balls in a little thing, shake them up, and then pull them out live. Okay. Pick number 3 is the Hornets. Pick number 2 is Pistons. Pick number 1 is going to be the Wizards. Like, you're still not rewarding, quote unquote, tanking. There's still some TV involved. Now, again, I still think that this would be stupid because this is just not this isn't a video game. Like, why are we if a team just sucks, and even if they are sucking intentionally, then it's on them. Then let them suck intentionally, because all they're doing is ruining their credibility as a franchise, right? Like if you are going out there and saying, I don't care about the product, I want to suck because I want to get X player because this guy is going to save us. Good luck. Sometimes it'll work, but it's not a guarantee. The league wants to control the process, obviously. The league wants to control it all. It's not even I don't even fault them. They're trying to turn a profit because obviously profit sharing. You're a big market, you're going to make the league more money. Full stop. So it makes sense. They're not going to reward a team that is sucky. There's a reason Charlotte doesn't win the lottery. Okay, there's a reason Detroit doesn't win the lottery. If you're given no reason for a team or for the league in general to trust you in terms of your development, in terms of the way you run things, and they're not going to want to take a risk and put a superstar talent like, say, a Victor or an Anthony Davis or whoever. They're not going to want to take that risk. To me, it just seems like a simple calculation for a lot of these things. I get it. It sucks and it's unfair, but the day Charlotte wins a lottery involving, a generational talent is the day that pigs fly and that the sun will, fall out of the sky and kill us all. But with that, that is going to be where we wrap up tonight's show. Unless, I don't know, it seems like there's still a few people in the chat. You've got something you want to riff about, got a question, whatever it is. We can talk here for a little while here. And the Tigers are in the top of the 8th inning. Actually, we might just stay live for the end of this Tigers game because we're at the top of the 8th inning and there's no score. Spurs lottery history, they have never dropped. That's right. I've seen that before. Like, again, it's similar to like in hockey. Like, look at how the Red Wings. I mean, granted, around the time when the lottery came into existence in the NHL, the Red Wings were really good, so they just weren't in it a lot. But the Red Wings are the same story. I don't really get that one. But like just a few years ago, the Red Wings they jumped like 3-4 spots after having like the worst record ever. No, I believe they ended up getting Lucas Raymond that draft. It was either Lucas Raymond or Mo Seider that year. I think it was Lucas Raymond. But either way, like it's just the whole thing just seems stupid. Like it just seems like why are we even doing it? Like it doesn't make any sense. But you know what? Since we're here, we got one and potentially a half inning to go here with the Tigers. So you know what? We're gonna stay live. We're gonna stay live. And we're gonna watch the rest of this Tigers game because I can't believe I don't think I've ever had a show where where I'm watching a game and it's scoreless by the end of the show. I don't think I've ever had that. So we're just gonna jump right into it, I guess. Let me see if I can pull the game day, MLB game day, and we'll just throw it on the screen and the game day is way ahead. Can I get ESPN? Hold on. Playback. Yeah, sure. We'll do this. This is fine. Okay. Let me present. Share screen. I don't want to be tiny. There we go. All right. So, as you can see, our beloved Tigers are doing the thing again. Bunt for a single. That's what I'm saying. It's not like nobody's getting no hit, right? Like the Tigers, I think it said they had 2 hits. Yeah, they got 2 hits. Marlins got 3 hits. But it's I can't believe we're in this life together. Usually, the game is at least interesting enough, or it's not that far deep into it, where it's I'm not gonna stay live. I gotta still edit out the clips here for you guys tomorrow, in case you missed anything on the show and you don't want to watch the full show. You should watch the full show. But still in a commercial here. How's everybody's Tuesday? Anybody having a great day? Everybody having a good day? Would love to see a torque bomb here. I'd love to be able to call one live, even though my voice is already kind of shot here from doing the show. So Torque hit his 2nd home run of the year last night in the 8th. See if he can do it again. That'd be awesome. First pitch to him is outside for ball 1. Now, again, I'm aware that the ESPN is going to be ahead, so just bear with me, okay? Torque 0 for 2 on the night. No outs, bottom of the 8th. 1-0 pitch is low and in the dirt. That one's 2-0 now on the changeup. Weather's still in the game. The starting pitcher why not? And the guy's only given up 2 hits. Don't know if Reese Olson will come back for the 9th. I doubt it, especially if the Tigers take the lead. Like I saw Andrew Chafin was warming up. 2-0 on Torque is swung on and fouled down the third base line. Quickly 2-1 here to Torkelson. Jason Foley, the righty, also warming up. So AJ Hinch keeping options available. 2-1 pitch to Torkelson is outside, and it's 3-1. Good chance here. I reckon you don't take here, or you do take, I should say. I mean, you just at this point you're just trying to get on base. Right? You're trying to manufacture runs. In a 3-1 count, Weather's obviously late here. I mean, barring a mistake pitch. Let's see what it comes. The 3-1 is swung on and popped up. Torque slams bat on the ground and is caught by the catcher in front of home plate. A pop out to start the inning on a 3-1 pitch. Torkelson upset with himself there. Meanwhile, the same game parlay, you're never going to believe it. 1 hit for Gio Urshela. 1 hit for Javi Baez. 1 RBI for Andy Ibanez. I said, like, when I saw this before the game, so I was like, oh, I'm not betting that. You know what? Turned out to be right. Gio Urshela takes a first pitch for ball 1, just a little outside there. Look at those kids. They're having the time of their life. Oh my gosh, some French fries. Those look delicious. The 1-0 to Urshela swung on the opposite side, caught by the first baseman, toss over to Weathers, tag the bag for out number 2. Urshela grounds out for out number 2 in the bottom of the 8th. I swear, man, if this game goes into the 10th inning scoreless, I'm going to lose my mind. Wensiel Perez steps up to the plate. We know he's got some home run pop. He's got one of the 2 hits on the night for Detroit. 1 for 2 with a single in the 6th, batting close to 300 and an 879 OPS with 3 home runs. And obviously, at this point for both teams, every batter represents the leading run late in this game as Perez takes ball 1 low and at his feet. Young player, did not get the opening day roster spot, but he has certainly earned a spot on this roster. And that's a foul ball. Perez, like, he thought maybe that ball was going to be ending up fair. It did drop foul. Sanchez, the right fielder, couldn't get to it in time. So a 1-1 count. I mean, at this point, again, you're just trying to manufacture runs. Like, get yourself on base. You don't have to swing for the fences. Obviously, you can get a home run. You're going to take that. But the 1-1 count to Perez. Here comes a pitch from Weathers. Inside, Perez jackknifes out of the way for ball 2. I mean, you got to give credit to Weathers. He's at 90 pitches. Really good game for him as he delivers ball 3 on the outside edge. Second batter for the Tigers this inning to generate a 3-1 count. We'll see if he'll swing here. The 3-1 swung on and fouled. Just able to get a piece of that one. Looked like it might have been outside of the zone. Javi Baez on deck. Couple of ABs tonight for him. No hits, no strikeouts. The 3-2 is swung on and fouled again. The 6-pitch battle here for Perez. Now, I would reckon if he walks Perez, that's it for Weathers, right? We'll see, though. 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and lined into left field. A base hit for Perez. He will stop at first base, a single. That's got to be the end of the night for Weathers, right? There's no way they're going to keep him in with that leading run now at first base. Javi Baez is, in theory, the man up. I don't know if we're going to pinch hit for him. They're going to keep Weathers in. Okay. Well, Javi Baez up against Weathers, 0 for 2 tonight. Baez looks at ball 1, low and on the outer corner. There's a guy. There's one of the lone members of the Having a Baez Jersey Club. The 1-0 is swung on and fouled. Just missed on a pitch. Low corner of the strike zone. Meanwhile, Tanner Scott, the lefty, warming up for the Marlins, will likely get the 9th inning one way or the other. The 1-1 swung on and grounded to third. Throw to second base is going to be in time to get Perez. Baez grounds into a force out. Cortez, Chisholm, and De La Cruz due up for the Marlins in the top of the ninth. This is actually, like, at this point I'm prepared. I'm prepared for the 0-0 going into the 10th inning game. And you know what's even more brutal about this is that I know that the Tigers' social media, like the YouTube, is going to upload the highlight as if anybody wants to see that. Like, no. Like, this is the thing that I don't understand. Like, last year, And in years prior, the only time that they uploaded the highlights was when they won. But this year, I don't know if maybe they just figure, more videos, more people are going to reach the channel. Like, they just upload everything. Like, Tigers lose, 1-0. Upload it. Like, what? No. I think they also, they've recently, changed their social media team. Because, they, a couple of years ago, they had, way better editors. I don't know if, when what's his name took over, when Scott Harris took over, they just changed their entire social media team. But I don't know, they just don't produce as much cool stuff as they used to. I don't know, maybe they just don't prioritize social media that much. I don't really care that much. I'm just pointing it out, making an observation. All right. So they're gonna have. They're not gonna throw Reese Olson out there again. So there's Reese Olson's line. Absolutely unbelievable. He's one of the more underrated pitchers, I'd say. 8 innings pitched, just 3 hits, no runs, no earned runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. I mean, he killed them. He killed the Marlins. If the Tigers lose this game, then Reese Olson should not be allowed to pitch. Not because he's not good, but because they apparently are unable. They are incapable of hitting when Reese Olson pitches. Meanwhile, Jason Foley, the righty, is going to take over. He closed out last night's game in the 9th. See if he can keep the Tigers or keep the Marlins scoreless here in the 9th as Berger tried to check his swing. Oh, and he did check his swing. It'll be ball 1 on a pitch low near his feet. Jake Berger pinch hitting. He struggled this year, batting below the Mendoza line, just a 174 average for Jake Berger, the former Chicago White Sox. White Sox? Yeah. Berger looks at ball 2. Now it's 2-0. In his career against Foley, though, he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Not a huge sample size, but Foley has won the battle against him so far as he delivers a called strike 1. We know Berger has pop in his bat. Problem, does not hit the ball very often. Obviously, the 174 average. The 2-1 swung on and fouled down the third base line. Quickly, a couple of strikes delivered from Foley, even up the count. Jeez, he is very bald, but he's got that mustache. So he's got hair on his head. It's just not on the top. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. Foley and Berger are opposites. The 2-2 is a called strike 3. He got him looking at the sinker, they call that. It was a 97-mile-per-hour sinker. Berger strikes out Foley's first strikeout of the night. They call that the sinker on the Bally bar. I mean, he froze him. Wow. It's a nasty piece of pitching there from Jason Foley. He's another one of those guys in this bullpen. Very good pitcher. I don't want to jinx him, but he's been really solid this year. Top of the lineup, Jazz Chisholm fouls the first pitch off. He's 0 for 3. A strikeout and a couple of groundouts. Batting .252, 749 OPS. He's got 5 homers as well. One of the better hitters in this struggling Marlins lineup. 0-1 pitch on the way is low and away, ball 1. And this is probably one of the more dangerous guys. I mean, he definitely can steal bases. So you gotta get Chisholm out, one way or the other. 1-1 delivered is ball 2, low, just below the strike zone. 2 balls and 1 strike, or 1 out, no score. 2-1 pitch, swung on and into center field. That is Matt Vierling making the catch for the second out. Big out there. Jason Foley, 9 pitches in. He's generated a couple of outs. If you can get this final out, Tigers got a chance to walk this one off in the bottom of the 9th. De La Cruz, though, another one of these better hitters in this Marlins lineup. He's 0 for 3, though, tonight. Strikeout, a foul out, and a ground out. First pitch to De La Cruz is grounded to short. Javi Baez will field it. The throw to first base is going to be in time. Great inning there for Jason Foley. Scoreless. Going into the bottom of the ninth, Jake Rogers, Matt Vierling, and Andy Ibanez 2 up. Try to win this game. I can't believe this. There's a legit. We're going to go into the 10th scoreless. This is going to be unbelievable. You know what? I'm hoping for the most anticlimactic walk off. I'm hoping for we get to the 10th and it's just 2 sack flies. Not even anything where you feel oh, all right, whatever. They turned it on near the end. You can live with it. Or any power or anything cool base. It's just oh, they managed to score on the fake base runner, the ghost runner. What is the difference between Gatorade and Gator Light? I don't understand. I don't even really like Gatorade. Gatorade is just the thing that you drink when you're sick. At least that's how I see it. I don't think I've ever seen somebody drink a quote unquote sports drink while doing anything else. I never see anybody doing it while lifting weights. I never see anybody, because it's just I think everybody sort of knows it's this is not good for you. Right? This isn't it's just bad. It's just it's like sugar, right? Not a doctor. Oh, you listen to me. Oh my gosh, that Tiger fan on the screen is going nuts. All right, here we go. Bottom of the ninth, no score. Chance for some drama here. Chance to win the 3-game set with a victory tonight. But nothing but great pitching, though. Let me mention, by the way, this game is less than 2 hours in. The game started at 6:40. It is 8:24. It hasn't even been 2 hours. Jake Rogers swings and misses at the first pitch. Couldn't hold up his swing. It'll be 0-1. He's 0 for 2 tonight. This is a bat that has shown some pop in the past. Off to a really bad start, though, as he swings and misses at the second pitch. Another slider. Here's Tanner Scott, first new pitcher for the Marlins tonight. Had a pretty solid year, 16 innings, 2.25 ERA, 5.74 opponent OPS. 0-2 pitch to Rogers, swung on and missed. 3 swings and 3 misses for the catcher. We're out number 1. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not a competitive at-bat. When you're in the business right now where the next run wins it right here, in the bottom of the ninth, you can't just be free swinging. I don't know what the mindset is of Jake Rogers there, that at-bat. I just don't. Matt Vierling, 0 for 3 tonight, looks at ball 1 inside. It's another bat. Definitely has some potential. 258 average, a 680 OPS, 3 homers on the night, or on the year, I should say. I wish he had 3 homers on the night. Looks at ball 2 at his knees. Again, next run wins it. Vierling representing the winning run. Ibanez on deck. 2-0 pitch to Vierling is swung on and grounded, and it's up in the air, and it was off the glove of the third baseman. So Vierling will get on, and I guess you could call that an infield single. It's a sharply hit ground ball to third off the glove of the third baseman. So now the winning run at first base for Andy Ibanez. Vierling definitely has some base stealing threat. First pitch to Ibanez, just a little high, ball 1. Ibanez has been one of the better hitters in this lineup, close to 300 average, barring some injury. He hadn't played all season, but been a solid bat as he fouls a pitch off. That was a fastball on the edge of the strike zone. Couldn't meet it in time. Batting .327 on the year, an .808 OPS, a couple of homers, but a fly-out, ground-out, and a pop-out for Ibanez tonight. Boy, would he love to walk this one off here. 1-1. Checked his swing, and he went too far. Swing and a miss. Strike two. The replay. Yeah, he definitely went. Good call there by the first base umpire. Not great for the Tigers, but the right call. Ibanez now with a 2-strike count, 1-2. Pitch on the way, swing and a miss. And a couple of strikeouts in the bottom of the ninth. Leaves the last hope for Detroit in Mark Canha. That has been cooled down as of late. Started real hot, but has struggled as of late. Batting .239 on the year, 791 OPS, but he's got 6 home runs. I believe he leads the team in home runs as he looks at ball one. He's also an on-base machine. At least that's what he had been to start the year. The winning run at first base in Matt Vierling. The 1-0 is swung on. Miss. Wow. Big cut and a miss there from Canha. He wanted to get all that. My goodness. That's just gas. 1 for 4 is Canha in his career against Scott with a couple of walks. 1-1 is inside for ball 2. Riley Green is on deck. He's probably the guy you want, assuming Canha can get on base here one way or the other. Two 1 pitch. Low and away. Ball 3. Now, at this point, you got to just take if you're Canha, right? I mean, you put the winning run in scoring position potentially on this next pitch. I got to imagine he's not swinging unless he really likes what he sees. 3-1 pitch. Takes for ball 4. Wow. That is not a good call. At least looking at the Bally Sports strike zone. That is well in the strike zone. I mean, I don't know how you call that a ball, but Tigers will take it. And looks like a little visit here to Scott as the winning run is in scoring position for Detroit with probably their best overall hitter in Riley Green at the plate. Although Riley has kind of struggled recently, I will say. Not really gone off in any game in particular. Love to see Riley Green make it. He's 0 for 1 against Scott in his career with a walk. Still looking for his first hit against him. I suppose that might give the Marlins a little bit of solace. And of course, the 2 outs means, no, you just need to get the out. One way or the other, just need to get the out. First pitch to Green is swung on and missed. Pitch way low and out of the strike zone. 0 for 3, strikeout, ground out, and a fielder's choice. Batting .269 this year with runners in scoring position. I mean, again, you got to have a competitive at-bat here. You can't be free swinging. You can't be swinging at pitches way outside like you just did. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's a good take for ball 1. That's a borderline pitch, but it's called ball 1. Surprised he didn't swing at that, though, given where it was located. Drilling the winning run second. The 1-1 is swung on and fouled into the glove of the catcher. 1-2 count now. Crowd is on their feet in Comerica. At least some of them are. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and grounded to third. They're going to throw to first base and get Riley Green on the run. That'll end 9. We'll head to the 10th. Bell, Sanchez, and Lopez due up for the Marlins in a scoreless game. I told you, we're going to end up going into the 10th scoreless. Unbelievable. 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 All right. If the NBA app not alert me of WNBA stuff, that'd be great. I didn't get the WNBA app. I got the NBA. So just a little tip. Oh man, I really hope this game ends the 10th. That would be super duper. But something tells me it's not. Something tells me I entered into something that I didn't realize would overtake me. Because at this point, it's like sunk cost fallacy. We gotta just stay live for the rest of it. So I don't care about your sunk cost fallacy. You can take your sunk cost fallacy and throw it away. Throw it in the garbage. You know what's upsetting is like even if they win, I guess I'll be happy. But like I'll still feel like this is like garbage, right? Like this is like we should be destroying the market. We're playing them in extras. We're winning it in late games. Alex Lang has taken over on the mound here in extras. The leading run, obviously, in scoring position to start the 10th. This is one of those spots where you always feel nervous in extra inning games. Ideally, if you can get out of this without giving up that run, you'll be in the best spot you could possibly be for just walking this game off. Alex Lang, who's been a solid pitcher this year for the Tigers out of the bullpen, a 3.07 ERA, a 6.17 opponent OPS, 24.6 K rate. But Josh Bell, one of the few hitters on this Marlins lineup, looks at ball one. Don't want to give Bell a cookie, that's for sure. You want to nibble a little bit. You want to get him to swing and miss. Did not swing and miss on that initial pitch, though. Got to throw competitive pitches, but you also don't want to give up easy right down the middle pitches. There's a swing and a miss from Bell on a curveball, which is probably the deadliest pitch for Alex Lang. That curveball generates a lot of swing and miss on it. Bell had the first hit of the night, a single in the first. He's 1 for 3. The 1-1 is swung on and lined into center field. It'll be a base hit, and that will hold the runner at third base. So men at the corners, but a single for Josh Bell's second hit of the night. Not put the Tigers in a great spot. I mean, that's just a perfectly hit little mini pop fly. It just ends up right in center field. Good on the Tigers defensively for holding that runner at third and potentially maintaining tie if Lang can get himself out of this jam. Sanchez is up. He's another Marlin hitter. Got a hit tonight as he grounds up the middle to second base. Throw to second for one. Throw back to first is not in time. So they will get the run at second and give up that runner at third. Marlins take a 1-0 lead. Tigers fail to turn the double play. Let me see. Oh, that's close. I don't know. You might want to challenge this. Oh, he might have gotten it with his back of his foot and his heel. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Good base running from Sanchez. You do still have an inning-ending double play set up. But that run given up, obviously, just given the way the offense has been performing for Detroit, I mean, that one run feels like Mount Everest in terms of overcoming it. Lopez at the plate, though. 1 for 3 on the night. He already swung on and missed the first pitch. The 0-1 is swung on and missed. Tyler Holton, the lefty, warming up in the Tigers bullpen. Hopefully, they're going to have to use him. It'll be in the 11th. The 0-2 pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3 for Alex Lang. First strikeout of the night on that curveball. I mean, again, it's a deadly pitch. It really is. Out number 2 in the 10th. AJ Puck. Assuming that's how that's pronounced. AJ Puck, the lefty, warming up as Gordon fouls off the first pitch. Nick Gordon, 1 for 6 against Alex Lang. Not great. If you're Alex Lang, you feel good. You've done a good job of stopping this bat from doing too much damage. Get yourself out of it. You only give up the 1 run. Swing and a miss from Gordon. Make it 0-2. Obviously, the Tigers will have that tying run at second base, entering into the middle of their order. I believe it'll be Torkelson lead off. Definitely has home run pop. So, O2 pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled just down the left base or left field line. Boy, that would have been close. There was nobody there. That ball would have ended up fair. Another run would have scored. Again, if you're Alex Lang, you got to limit the damage to just that 1 run at the most. You can't put your offense in an already tough spot, given the fact that the offense has just not performed all night. 0-2 pitch. Runner goes. Throw down to second is in time. Jake Rogers to Javi Baez gets that runner at second trying to steal. And yeah, he got him easily. Ahead of the bottom of the 10th. Marlins up 1-0. Tigers, again, going to try to walk it off and win the 3-game set. And it looks like Miami's going to challenge. I don't know what they're... This shouldn't take long. He clearly tags him. I mean, I guess if you're Miami, you got no reason not to challenge it. Late in the game. Yeah, I mean, he touches him, clearly. Shouldn't take long. Actually, maybe he just missed it. It looked like there was some... I don't know if that was shadows. That looks... I don't know if there's enough there, though. Because the call on the field is an out. So you have to overturn that. You have to have clear evidence to overturn it. And it just isn't that clear. I think it looks like there's a little bit of a ripple on the jersey. And if it did, then he hit him. Here we go, I think. Are they going to announce it? And they're going to say the call stands. That's the right move. But Miami loses their challenge. Not that they necessarily would be able to use it, really. So Torkelson, Urshela, and Perez due up for Detroit. Try to win this game, or at least extend it for another inning. We're going to be here until like 1 a.m. at this rate. In a way, I almost want to I almost wish that because we stayed, they have to win it, right? I only decided to stay because I was like, well, there's not that much time left. The game's only got a few more innings. Let's just stick around. Let's have fun. Let's hang out. Tuesday night, nobody's doing anything. Come on. And I want them to win at this. Well, I want them to win anyway. But if they don't win and we stayed for this, especially given the fact that there was nothing offensively, would love a torque bomb walk off. That would be awesome. That would be great. But something tells me that won't. I gotta say, so I have the Bally Sports app because I have YouTube TV and there's no Bally Sports on YouTube TV. I gotta ask, is there anybody who uses the Bally Sports app or even just watches Bally Sports that watches the British basketball? Who are these people? Well, they're showing those torque home runs in the past couple of nights, hoping to manifest that here tonight. He's had some dramatic home runs as of late. His first home run, I believe, was in the bottom of the ninth against the Astros. And his home run last night was essentially the game winner. It was in the bottom of the eighth. He's 0 for 3 tonight, though. Riley Green, the runner at second base. Meanwhile, AJ Puck, who has a 1,000 opponent OPS this year and a 9 ERA. Okay, he has not pitched that often, but still. First pitch to Torkelson is high and inside, ball one. Had to get out of the way of that one. The 1-0 swung on and foul down the first base line. Your torque, for my own sanity, I want to see the ball in the air. I want to see him line a ball if you're going to get a hit. I don't want to see it grounded and then just find a hole. 1-1. Swung on and lined into right. It'll be a foul ball. Oh my gosh. You can review it. Oh, that's foul. Yeah, that's just barely foul. A little pop up that just was inches from landing fair and certainly would have scored Riley Green. Instead, it's strike two to Torkelson, 1-2. Goodness. Well, here we go. Pitch number 4. The 1-2 is inside. He jackknifes out of the way for ball 2 to even it up. 2-2 count to Torkelson. 1 for 2 against Puck. I'm calling him Puck. I don't know if that's his pronunciation. 1 for 2, a double for Torkelson. The 2-2 swung on and lined foul. Jeez, he got all over that, but it way foul. Oh my goodness. Boy, does he probably want that one back. Hitting the ball hard. At least on that foul. Couldn't get in front of it. The 2-2. Swung on and lined, and that one is foul. Golly. Back-to-back line drive foul balls down the left field line. That one off the netting. Gotta get contact. Gotta find some green here. 2-2. That one popped up and he made the catch in foul territory. Oh my goodness. Torkelson fouls out as I believe that's Graham reached over and caught that ball, or that's Gray, not Graham, reached over the dugout and made the catch. Boy, does that have to sting. Given the contact, given how close that initial foul ball was. So here's Gio Urshela, who swings and fouls the first pitch off. 0 for 3 for Urshela, 3 ground outs for his first hit after coming back off the IL. Boy, would love to get some hero ball for him. The 0-1 swung on and shot into deep right field. It is going to be caught. Riley Green will tag and head to third, but it is out number 2. And so they're just going to, obviously, they're going to give Green that base. So Tigers will advance the base runner, but they need a base hit anyway. And now the last hope and probably the best hitter of the night, Wenzel Perez. 2 for 3 with a couple of singles, batting above 300 on the season, 308, 892 OPS, 3 homers. He represents the winning run at the plate, and he looks at ball 1. All you need at this point, base hit, stay alive. Why not leave it up to the hottest hitter tonight for Detroit? The 1-0. That one is low and just out of the strike zone. Ball 2. Good hitters count for Perez. Frankly, it's kind of Perez or you're not going to win it. You got to get the hit here. The bottom last couple of hitters, and they might not even pitch to him as he looks at a called strike 1. Top of the zone. This is a late strike call. Two 1. Swung on and sent to right. But right back for Sanchez. He will make the catch. And the Marlins even up the series with a 1-0 shutout win. That is pathetic. I mean, you don't score a run on this Marlins team. Yeesh. Well, that was fun. I'm glad we stayed for that, everybody. Glad we stayed up for that together and enjoyed that. That was fun. Well, I guess I'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about all the sporting news of the week and have some fun. Hopefully, maybe the Tigers will end up winning a game. So that's fun. With that, we're going to sign off. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Hope you have a fantastic night. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy the hockey. Enjoy the basketball. Don't enjoy the Tigers because they suck. I'll see you guys next week for the show. Have a good night, everybody. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye.